Hello, beautiful friends. This is Nathalie Sage. I am here today to share some information about the power animals, spirit animals, totem animals. These are all different names for, most of the time the same thing. I will clarify exactly what each one is a little bit later on. Because they're not necessarily the same thing. They can be different things, but sometimes we just use these names, the terms interchangeably to make it easier for ourselves. So the way that I will use the word power animal when we speak of a specific animal that is here to guide our soul's journey through this lifetime. So I will be using power animal rather than spirit animal or totem animal. So who am I? My name is Nathalie Sage and I work as a spiritual mentor and healer. I facilitate online ritual journeys for women all over the world, although I tend to have mostly Swedish women in my group since I am from Sweden originally. And it's just been a beautiful journey to be able to hold an online temple space for people who wouldn't necessarily be able to come together unless it was online. People from different places, different cities, different towns, and in my case, even different countries. So it's a really beautiful experience, and I do hope that you at some point decide to join us, because it's just a beautiful community that we are creating here together. And I love every single one of the women coming through, sharing their journeys, sharing their words of wisdom, their processes of raw, unfiltered power and truth. It is just absolutely inspiring and empowering, and it literally blows my mind. Every single journey that I take with women, it just blows my mind over how incredible these souls are, how brave they are to face that which is sometimes really, really hard to face. Sometimes it's it's very challenging, and I am just in awe of the strength and the determination of these women to live their fullest lives, to be in communication and in union with their spiritual selves, with their soul, and to really, wandering back to wholeness, realizing their own wholeness and realizing that we are so much more than this ego identity that we carry around us like a mask. Like, there is an infinite universe within us of possibilities and of different energies. And the spirit animals are just a part of that. It's a part of that inner landscape, which often is connected with the unconscious, actually always connected with the unconscious mind or the subconscious. And this is also the place where our shadow lives, which is another branch of my work, is to hold online ritual spaces for shadow work, which is something that I also love doing. But today we are talking about spirit animals, power animals. This is something that I absolutely adore talking about. And anyone that has ever done private work with me will know that I absolutely, almost like, if you've done more than 3 sessions with me, then in general there will be an animal that comes through. And I have been communicating with animals ever since I was a little girl. The first power animal that came through for me was actually the horse. It came through when I was quite young. I just felt this amazing, strong, magnetic attraction to horses, and I just loved being close to them. I loved being around them. I loved just watching them. And I have moments when I remember as a girl, I would just watch horses move, either in the arena or in the paddock, and I would actually start crying because I was so moved by their grace and their beauty and their sense of freedom. And I often would, as a child, this was considered play, but as a child, I would often actually imitate the movements of the horse when I was playing with my friends, and it would come so easily to me. I would sort of bow my head a little bit or tilt my head downwards, and I would walk with my legs up high, and I would shake my head and snort or maybe neigh a little bit. And I remember that it felt like this was more than play for me. This was more than play. It wasn't just me pretending to be a horse. I was the freaking horse. That's what I felt in that moment. And I was a girl that, I loved all animals. I loved especially dogs. Dogs were another animal that I absolutely loved. And I always wanted to have a dog. I was obsessed. I knew all the breeds by the age of 8 because I would study all the different dog breeds. But I never had this experience with a dog. No matter how much I loved the dogs, it was not the same experience as I had with the horses. With the horse, I felt like I was the horse, and like the horse was me. And so it was this really strong interconnectedness, and also a deep understanding of the essence, of the spiritual essence of the horse. It was like I often felt, and this is when I was a little bit older, when I went through my teenage rebel years, I would actually very often kick and have a need, almost like this need to bite. You know, when you have a horse and it's being pushed into a corner, and how it starts bucking and kicking and standing on its back legs. And I often had that feeling as a teenager that I was being pushed into a corner, and I literally wanted to kick as a horse kicked. And once I did, at my school, at my old school, I actually kicked a door that had a glass window, and the window broke, which is absolutely insane. I don't know how I did that, but yeah, I was a bit of a rebel child, so that's something that has to stay between us as a little secret. Actually, it's not a secret. I've spoken about this before, and I'm not proud of my past. I just want to say this quickly. I was very, very rebellious as a young child, as a young teenager, and I was quite destructive. And it's something that I obviously have worked through now. This was many, many, many years ago, but looking back, I can just see this child being very infuriated with authority, with people who were telling me what to do, who I should be, what I could do, what I couldn't do, and I could sense their own lack of integrity, and I could just not honor or accept another person telling me what to do when they themselves were not empowered within themselves. I could not listen to them. And I still feel that way. Although the way that I handle it now is, of course, with a lot more empathy than I did back then. Anyway, so the horse came through as this, wild kind of, I was going to say stallion, but as this wild animal that just wanted to break free. So often when we encounter our spirit animals or our power animals, it's often this sense that we are that animal. That we could, if we wanted to, we could easily embody the energy of that animal. It's almost like when we think about it, we can almost feel our body is actually starting to respond to the way that animal is moving. So perhaps if you feel very connected with the power animal of the lion, maybe the lioness, then as you start thinking about the lioness, if you think about her eyes, you think about the way she looks over the prey, or perhaps the way that she moves, how she moves her shoulder blades, how they kind of go up and down, slowly gazing over the grasslands for a prey. Or, if she's to defend herself, showing her teeth. So it's like, if you're connecting with that animal, you're going to start to feel how your body is actually responding to the movements of that animal. And this is very, very magical, and something that in my live ritual journeys, we explore that movement of the lioness, or, of your power animal, of the horse, of the snake, whatever it is that comes through for you. And I'll give you a space where you can actually embody these energies, which can sometimes be hard to do on your own. It's not impossible, it's not hard as such, but it's just that we often don't give ourselves that space to do that. So our power animal can either, it can be one animal that follows you throughout your life. It could also be an animal that comes in at a certain time in your life when you're dealing with a certain lesson or a certain relationship that the animal wants to assist you with. So some animals come and go and some stay with you for life. And you don't, you can have more than one animal. You can have several animals. And often we do. Often it's not just one. Often we have more than one. And often they in themselves actually have a relationship with each other. But that's next level stuff. So I won't go into that now. But sometimes they have a relationship with each other, which is very, very, very interesting. And as we explore that relationship between the different power animals, then we will start to see an even bigger picture that is often a very apt description and reflection of our own psyche. So the power animals, they come in and they are here to assist us. They're here to help us. They're here to kind of embody and hold that certain energy that we are in need of in order to fulfill our mission on this earth, or in order for us to, learn certain lessons and so on. So what's then the difference between a spirit animal, a power animal, and a totem animal, which is something that I mentioned at the very start? A spirit animal is literally the spirit of an animal. So it's the archetypal expression of an animal. So we can talk about wolves, for an example. So there are, I don't know, thousands of wolves around the world. They are all individuals. Just like, any dog owner or any pet owner will be able to tell you, yeah, my pet is a rabbit, or my pet is a horse, or my pet is a cat. And they're, even though it's a cat, it's got its own personality. It's not like every single cat is acting exactly the same just because it's the same breed. Like most life that has some sort of evolved intelligence has their own personality. And I feel like even fish have their own personality. When we think of wolf, then what do we think? Perhaps we think about loyalty. Perhaps we think about pack animals. Perhaps we think of a predator. Perhaps we think of a guardian, or someone that's protecting something. Perhaps we think of a hunter. When we think of a horse, we think about perhaps freedom, or we think about matriarchy. And then we have animals like dolphins. Like, what do we feel when we think of dolphin? We think of perhaps communication, or joy, or playfulness, and what else? Just speed even. So, of course, every single individual will have a different expression. Of course, there are wolves that aren't that loyal. And of course, there are dolphins that probably aren't that playful. But when we talk about the spirit of an animal, we talk about the essence of what that animal means to us, the image that we have, and the patterns that comes with that image that we usually see. And of course, if you have a fear, or if you have a certain inclination towards a particular animal, then your view of that animal might shift a little bit and color the experience that you have of that animal, the judgment that you have of that animal. But there will be an image of the animal that is beyond your own judgment, and that is the archetypal image of the animal, and that is the spirit of the animal. So the spirit of the animal, it is what it is, and it can help us. We can bring in the spirit of an animal. We can say, hey, I'm feeling like I really want to be better at, teamwork. So I will call in, I will ask the spirit of wolf to come and assist me, because I know that wolf is really, really good with that sort of stuff. So you can ask the spirit of the animal to come and help you. When it comes to a power animal, though, usually the power animal chooses you. Or, maybe you chose that animal. Maybe you signed a contract with the animal before you came into this body that you would work together. But let's just put it this way now. It feels like the animal chooses you. It comes to you. It makes it pretty damn clear that it wants your attention. And this can be through dreams. It can be through just watching television and you see this one animal keep popping up. Scrolling through your social media, of course, is a classic way of getting synchronicities nowadays. Scrolling through your social media, and without you searching for this animal, it just starts to pop up everywhere. Maybe you see someone wearing a t-shirt with that animal. Maybe you hear it on a song. Maybe you see a poster in the shop. All these different signs, basically, that the animal is trying to send you to go like, hey, I want your attention. So a power animal is going to want your attention in some way or another. And sometimes that attention comes as a fear. Sometimes we are actually scared of the animal, and that is our initiation into working with the animal. And that's how it's getting our attention. I remember when I was just after actually the horror sort of mellowed out for me, I started to get very vivid dreams about the snake. And the dreams were very, very, they were very similar. It was a snake and it was chasing my feet and was trying to get my attention. Basically every single dream for years. And it wasn't until I was about 24, 25, so, a little bit less than 10 years ago now, that I started to understand that actually the snake is not chasing me to hurt me. The snake is chasing me to get my attention so that it can work with me. And snake for me is the healing aspect of myself. It's the healer, it's the wise one. It's that which is the wisdom of the earth, the wisdom of the goddess, of the earth mother. The wisdom that travels through many, many generations, both on my bloodline and in my spirit line, so past lives. When a power animal wants your attention, you will know about it. And usually with a power animal, it's a lot more about embodying. So with a spirit animal, you can start to become inspired by the animal. Maybe, he'll be like, hey, have you thought about this? This is what I would do. And then you'll get that information. Whereas with a power animal, it's really about you becoming that animal. And not, of course, physically, we're not there yet. Some of us might be, but I'm not. But it's about taking the energy of the animal and really feeling it in your body and feel what it means for you to be that animal. So this is a form of shape-shifting. And I personally have had some experiences with shape-shifting, and let me tell you, it's pretty fucking cool. Sorry for swearing, but it's very, very cool. And it's absolutely possible to do that. So when we're working with a power animal, what we want to do is to really honor it. We want to be, we want to really show our appreciation. So when an animal comes through and wants to work with us, we want to pay attention to it and honor it by, maybe get a statue of the animal. If it's a bird, gather some feathers from it. Get a necklace of it, or a ring, or some jewelry. Get a t-shirt of that animal. Get a poster, get a picture of it, put it as your screensaver. Like really feed your attention to this animal, because the more attention you give it, the more energy you give it, and the more it can help you and teach you, because your psychic awareness and your psychic energy is actually feeding it the energy it needs to keep providing you with the insights and the messages and the guidance that it's wanting to, and that you also want to have from it. So I like to work with my power animals in a very ritualistic, creative way. I like drawing them. I like painting them. I like, as the more non-verbal it is, the better for me, because it's more about the actual feeling, about the experience, rather than having to explain or put into words what I'm feeling. So that's also something that I'm facilitating in these ritual online journeys. So when it comes to, so that was the spirit animal versus the power animal, and now it's going to be versus the totem animal. So a totem animal is usually, it can be an animal, it can also be a nature spirit. As a totem can be a nature spirit. Often a large group of people, or a larger group, I should say, gather around and have this as sort of the center of their collective identity. So something that I've noticed after working with the snake very actively for the past 10 years or so, I've noticed that a lot of women that also carry the snake medicine or carry they also have the power animal of the snake in them, they are very, very drawn to me. In a group setting, I would have, out of 10, I would probably have 6 or 7 that have felt some pull or some attraction towards the snake, or the snake have visited them in a dream or something like that. So then as we share this experience of the snake, and as the snake travels through all of our consciousness, then it becomes sort of a totem. So we start to collectively celebrate the snake, and we start to honor it, and it becomes a part of our group identity. So that is a totem. A totem often is a shared experience, a shared symbol for the supernatural experience of the collective. So lastly, I just want to let everyone know that's listening to this call today that every single one of you have a power animal waiting for you to acknowledge it, waiting for you to pay attention to it and get to know it. And you probably have several. So if you haven't already encountered your power animal, then you can set an intention right now, right this moment, to get to know your power animal. Say out loud, "Hey Spirit, I really would like to understand more and get to know my power animal. Can you please help me?" And so just sending that intention out actually invites your power animal to come up from the depths of the unconscious into your conscious mind. And perhaps your first encounter will be in a dream, or you just get a feeling, you start seeing images maybe of that animal, or whatever other synchronicities that may come up. But just know that that intention is actually enough for you to start working with that animal. And it's just such a magical, wondrous, really enchanting experience to be able to know that there are these beings within you. These beings exist within you, whether you like it or not, whether you're going to acknowledge it or not. That it doesn't matter what you do. They still live there, they still exist, and they are a part of you. And you can use their hidden power, you can use their talents and their gifts to elevate yourself, to evolve, and to reach a higher spiritual awareness of yourself and of the earth and of your surroundings. That is a choice that you have, that is a possibility that is there for you if you choose to act on it. And of course, I invite you, please, if you do feel called to explore these parts of yourself and of the nature in you, because you're also part of nature, then please come and join us for the online ritual journey that is called The Animals. I run these events very regularly, so go and check on my website or on my Instagram, or send me an email if you're interested in knowing when the next journey is. It is such a sweet experience, and it's also a very unique experience. There are different elements that I've gathered over the years that I will put together in this unique animal journey for you to really embody and play around with and discover the hidden potential of these animals within you. It's truly magical, and I really do hope that you join us. I'm sending you all so much love, and I hope you have a wonderful day and that you enjoyed this little introduction to power animals. Bye.